Hit that thumbs up button, y'all. Let's get to it. I hope everybody had a good, safe weekend.
I love you.
And I hope you guys really reached out to someone, at least one person. Just let them know I love you, thinking about you, anything. It goes a long way. Anyway, there's a video up. OMG. Dave Chappelle and Ye were right all along. Wendy Williams is under siege. Let's click it. I don't have a bunch to say. Let's get it.
Did you see a neurologist?
To find out if I'm crazy?
And they wanted to medicate me every day. You realize, like, they could have just switched to medication and I wouldn't be here. And on the news, they would have said it was because of a mental issue.
Pay attention. They could have switched the medication and said that it was because of something else. Come on, y'all. They take you out how they live. Y'all remember that saying? Anyway, let's go.
There was a radio personality once upon a time. Her name was Wendy Williams, and she was practically burned at the stake.
Burned at the stake. I ain't even trying to be funny, y'all. This picture just, it don't sit right with me. I started getting funny feelings when she was on her show, dressed as the Statue of Liberty, and fell. I really felt that was some subliminal for something else.
For talking about such.
This industry is a monster.
At a time like this, if I was on medication right now, then one pill could have been swapped out and it would be Michael Jackson and Prince all over again.
They're trying to kill me. The whole time, they're trying to convince me I'm insane. They're trying to get me to take psychotic medication. Yeah, like I'm sitting around, I was stressed out, but the people that were telling me I was insane, I believe that they knew what was going on.
Anybody could look at her and tell this is not just alcohol. There's something more going on.
Wendy.
Jesus Christ.
And tell this is not just alcohol. There's something more going on.
Wendy Williams is in trouble, and if she doesn't get the necessary help now, the elites will definitely succeed in getting rid of her. Hollywood is a place where fame and fortune often go hand in hand, but it's also a place where bizarre illnesses strike some of the most well-known
Look at the difference. She was so beautiful there.
Personalities. The weird part is that most of the victims are some of the strongest beings you will ever come across on the face of Earth. If that's the case, then why do they suddenly get sick with illnesses that no one seems to know about? The answer is known only to the elites, who seem to be in control of who lives and who dies. Wendy Williams is one of the most fearless TV presenters who tackled some difficult issues. She didn't care who she was facing. When it came to doing her job, no one stood in between.
I know I pissed a lot of people off, including you. But this is a full circle moment, everybody. Get into it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Full circle.
Yeah.
But just like the elites tried to silence Dave Chappelle, Kanye West, and many others, this seems to be what is happening to the iconic TV presenter. I mean, how can someone change from this to this in a blink of an eye? What's really happening to Wendy Williams? Right about now, she's complaining about a lot of things.
I love you,
People have stolen all her money. She's bankrupt. And now people are calling her crazy. But this isn't a new situation in Hollywood. Kanye West explained this very well when it happened to him. Listen to this.
I'm saying is, look, they tried to medicate me. I was exhausted. They wrongly diagnosed me. And they when I asked them, how much lithium did you want to put me on exactly? It took them 4 days to answer because they were embarrassed about the amount, right? And I refused to take this, right? You understand that if I had taken the medication, I would not be here, and it would have been, he was deeply troubled. We miss him. We love his music, though.
Well, they would have Britney Spears too.
They would have Michael Jackson or worse.
Fortunately, Kanye West outsmarted them, but I know their plan was to continue putting him on the wrong medication, then drain him financially so that he couldn't afford proper medication and eventually die. When this plan failed, they labeled him crazy so that people should stop paying attention to him.
I ain't never been back to the hospital since 2015, but every time they say I'm crazy, it's just when I'm saying the truth. So what's the crazy part, really?
The same thing happened to the great Dave Chappelle, and Cat Williams talked about it.
Dave Chappelle was decapitated in front of us. They called him Pilot Boy. because he had 19 pilots in Hollywood and everybody passed on him and said his show.
What do you think of
Then when he made $500 million, they said even though his contract said he should get half of it, they said he made too much for the contract to be valid, so we'll offer you 10% of what you made. You mean he made $500 million and they offered him 50? Yes. And he said, what do you think my fans are gonna say when they find out you offered me 10% of what I made you? And they said, your fans will believe that you're a crazy crackhead by the time you get home. And my nigga got on a flight in LA, and by the time he got to Ohio, it was so.
One thing that y'all need to understand is that people who poison or kill us are not people from a distance, but people we break bread with and call family. People that we think are safe to be around with. If you watch the Dave Chappelle and Oprah Winfrey interview, you will understand what I am talking about. The interview gave me a different feeling about her. She sounded like she was pushing a different narrative. Just listen to her.
It was completely outside of my frame of reference. I've been in show business since I was 14. And I've heard the stories of what happened. And I've seen, look,
Experience was devastating for him. Wendy Williams is going through a situation that we have.
It is so crazy how they did her. I don't know. What did she do? Other than, well, I don't. Jesus.
Witnessed many go through, and I love that we have some people who are not scared to talk about it. Let's listen to Kanye West expose what happened to Michael Jackson, Prince, Bruce Lee, and Brandon Lee.
Bruce Lee and Brandon Lee were both murdered. Michael Jackson not waking up one day. Prince not waking up one day. Bruce and Brandon Lee, Bob Marley, all of these things and not waking up one day. Prince not waking up one day. Bruce.
There was something, I forgot what it was with Bruce Lee, but there was something with Bruce Lee and his son. If y'all know, leave it in the comments.
Bob Marley. All of these things
I love you, Poppy.
have crossed my mind.
Bruce Lee died at the age of 32 under mysterious circumstances. Brandon Lee died from a wound caused by a firearm malfunction. Bob Marley died from a melanoma. Prince died of an accidental fentanyl overdose. Michael Jackson died of cardiac arrest, which was caused by a lethal combination of sedatives and propofol, an anesthetic. Kanye West says all these people were assassinated by the elites because of their positive influence on the world. Kanye West has numerously exposed the elites for tearing down everyone who doesn't fit their narrative, which many people have agreed to because they have seen that happen to so many different people. Once the elites fail to control or kill you, they will find a means of getting rid of you. Either by turning the world against you like they did with Tupac, or by labeling you crazy so that people shouldn't pay attention to what you say. The Prince and Michael Jackson were killed because the elites couldn't control them. The elites were afraid of the power these two possessed. That's why they decided to get rid of them. At the time of their deaths, both Prince and Michael Jackson own their masters. Michael Jackson owned half of ATV, the publishing company that owns Beatles Publishing, and Sony owned the other half. Unfortunately, after his death, the estate sold Michael's half to Sony, giving Sony 100% ownership of ATV. We all know what really happened to him and who got rid of him. Bob Marley is another genius and influential figure that the elites killed. Many fans believe he was assassinated, which somehow makes a lot of sense because of the following. There was an assassination attempt in his home in 1976, where his wife Rita was shot in the head and Bob Marley suffered a gunshot wound to the chest and arm. A year later, he was diagnosed with acral lentiginous melanoma. Was that a coincidence? I strongly doubt. Kanye West was equally subjected to the same evilness. Fortunately enough, he survived. When they failed to kill him, they labeled him crazy so that people should discredit everything he says, which didn't work either. The last option was to get all his money in the hope of silencing him, but that didn't work either. Kanye West believes the elites are there to get everyone who is not moving with them in the same direction. That's why they tried to kill him.
Drove me to a point of exhaustion, which was misdiagnosed of having a disorder that would have had me on medication right now. At a time like this, if I was on medication right now, then one pill could have been swapped out and it would be Michael Jackson and Prince all over again.
Y'all know what the Fetty Wap out here doing.
As I'm going and saying, I need to innovate what these contracts are, not just for me, but for all artists. It's not about me getting my masters back. It's about freedom. And I say on a new song, I say, if I would put myself in harm's way to get my masters, they would put themselves in harm's way to stay the master.
Listen, y'all know how I feel about it. These are things you got to look out for. I've always thought about changing my content, but I'm not saying I'm teaching something. I just want to put this in the atmosphere. Hopefully it can sway a person to either not make a certain choice, or if they do make that choice, to assess the situation properly and then move forward. But you're gonna know what you're going into. You're gonna know what to look out for.
It was good, Siki.
It's a dirty game, y'all. This next video, we're gonna talk about Cat. Let's get it. Hit that thumbs up button for me, y'all.